This screencast forms part 3 of an introductory talk on psychoanalytic ideas which inform psychodynamic counselling. In part 1, we considered Freud's 2 models of how the mind worked. In part 2, we looked at ideas Freud had about how the mind developed over time, and how anxiety arising from developmental issues and early experiences caused the infant to deploy protective ego defense mechanisms. Using ego defense mechanisms, the childhood experiences, conflicts, feelings and trauma, or aspects of them, are removed from the consciousness of the individual and rendered unconscious. Freud considered that the return of such memories into consciousness is resisted by the ego, in order to prevent it from once again being threatened by overwhelming anxiety. The past experiences, conflicts, feelings or trauma remain active in the unconscious and can reveal themselves in a number of ways, as in symptoms of illness like hysteria, slips of the tongue, dreams, repeating patterns of behaviour, and in what Freud called the transference. Using hypnosis, Freud uncovered hidden unconscious meaning behind symptoms of hysteria in his patients. The symptoms linked to past events and conflicts which often had evoked their sexual or aggressive impulses. And, since these invoked prohibition from the superego, had consequently exposed his patients to overwhelming anxiety. Likewise, slips of the tongue and dreams too conceal hidden meaning. For example, I have a distant relative who has always seemed a bit odd in some way. In a conversation where I was intending to express concern for her seeming a little weary, by a slip of the tongue I said she seemed a little weird. The meaning behind my words was not very well hidden, and this illustrates another of Freud's ideas. Slips of the tongue, dreams, symptoms of neurotic illness, all partly disguise and partly reveal unconscious meaning behind them. Freud also considered that his patients relived their past childhood relationships in the way they related to him. This transference of the past onto the present revealed the nature of his patients' childhood experiences, anxieties, conflicts and feelings in relation to important people in the past. For example, suppose you had an especially strict upbringing. As an adult, you might then anticipate an especially strict reception when you meet with new authority figures. Or if you had a long period of separation in childhood from your mother, you might find, as an adult, that it's difficult to trust that important people will be reliable and not leave you. Freud considered that this can lead people to repeat the same childhood patterns of behaviour in relation to others in their adult life, the meaning of which is to be found in their past childhood experiences. Take for example a person who experienced a strict upbringing, who as an adult is overly timid and appeasing in relation to authority figures. In the next part 4 of the talk, we will look at how Freud and psychodynamic counsellors and therapists use some of these ideas in their work with clients.